Hey guys, welcome back to Resistance Chicks. We're your hosts, Leah and Michelle. Today is, what is today? The 17th of May,
baby.
2019. We have a lot to bring you. You will note that we are live right now on our Resistance Chicks channel.
Woo!
Yay! Resistance Chicks channel.
But we're live.
But we are live. Yes.
So if you're watching us back
that
on Match
is a
Phase
glass
3,
half full.
it's full, baby.
Way to do it.
It's full.
Okay.
Remember how many months did we do where we live on Resistance Chicks?
Right.
A
while.
We lost all our followers on Match Phase 3. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, it did gut our viewership. But you know what? God knows. I'm glad if you're watching us here. I'm glad if you found us here.
Yes.
You are the true diehards, and may the Lord bless your heart.
Diehardness.
So this week was a big week for pro-life. We just keep winning.
I know.
However, if you were to check out Twitter or the it's been a kind of a controversial issue here. Now this right here, you would never know it, but that is Alabama's governor. Her name is what is her name?
I don't know. I just had it up and then I lost it.
Alabama's pro-life governor is a hypocrite, they say. That's what it is. Kay Ivey. Now, what's very interesting about this is that all over Twitter and left-leaning sociopath circles, they have said, to their shame, that men should not tell women what to do with their bodies, that this is a bill of men. Well, the person who signed it into law, she self-identifies and is biologically a female.
Yeah, that's a double whammy.
Yeah, and you know, Matt Walsh made a very interesting observation that wherever he goes, wherever he's in some sort of pro-life event, 90% of the people there are women.
And that's
women
the thing.
Run this whole thing. Women run the anti-abortion clinic.
Right.
Women run the pro-life clinics. Women, it's always been women. Now the men kind of go along with it because it's icky. They don't want to think about it.
Right.
But I am proud of the men for standing up because their voices happen to be loud right now.
Yeah.
Ben Shapiro's and Matt Walsh and a lot of other great pro-life men who are standing up for life. But it's run by women. It's always run by women ever since, the first wave feminism was against contraceptions and abortions. The even Stantons of this world.
So
pro-life women.
I want to show
women.
I want to show you guys something here. This is one of our friends posted this. Meanwhile, at today's meeting on feline healthcare. Now, there's a bunch of dogs there. So let's set aside the fact that this is equating men to dogs. And I don't like that at all.
I love dogs.
That being said, what I wanted to pipe in is like, okay, wait a minute, but what about the rest of us that are felines at the table wanting to talk about feline health care?
You don't get a voice.
You don't get a voice. And that's the thing that it blows my mind. And I made a couple of posts today, Leah, and while I bring those up, you can go ahead and spout your thoughts.
Well, look at this. Pro-life governor is a hypocrite. Tulsi Gabbard says the Alabama abortion bill is extremely dangerous. Here's the thing. It's not dangerous because it's actually saving lives. It's like putting a railing around the Grand Canyon and because people keep falling over like, well, that's dangerous.
Yeah.
That's dangerous. It's going to, make it so that people jump the railing now.
Right. So, this was my first post that I made today. I said, you have value and you are special whether you are wanted or not. In society, we encourage our children to know their value and worth exists outside of what others think of them.
Boom, baby.
We teach young girls that they are special outside of being wanted by men. But
boom.
What sort of double standard are we teaching children when we say that a baby in the womb only has value and is only considered a real life if it is wanted by his or her parents? If a baby is unwanted, it's a clump of cells and then can be disposed of.
Right.
If it is wanted, they get a name and are treated like a human. If they are wanted, abuse or murder of the woman carrying the child is considered abuse or murder of two. We do not, as a society or as a woman, get to decide if someone has value and the right to live. So that was my first post. My second post was this, because after I posted that one, I had more thoughts. I said, and this addresses the men and my body and all that rights thing. I'm curious for those out there touting for men to keep out of women's health issues in relation to abortion. Do you not consider that a vast number of abortions take place only because a woman or girl is pressured into it by their boyfriends or fathers. Men who want to have sex without the consequences are very, very happy with a woman's right to choose. It gives them a free pass on responsibility and treating women with value. The very thing you want, not to be patronized and objectified by men, is trampled on by the tap it and go culture that abortion has created. You allow yourself to be cheapened and devalued. The so-called patriarchy you despise are the ones that want you to be able to kill the child they created inside of you so they can say, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, and leave you in the dust. Okay? That is what happens when we look at this so-called patriarchy.
They go there.
Okay? I'm serious. These women are like, I don't want men to tell me what to do. I want to be treated like it sounds very childish, actually. Like I'm a real adult. You can take me seriously. I should be able to kill my baby if I want to.
99% of abortions are from consensual sexual relations. Less than 1% do people who have been raped go and seek an abortion.
I would want to know if you can measure the statistic of how many abortions take place because, and you can't measure this, because a man pressured a girl to go and get one. Right. I know of a handful of young men who admit that they asked their girlfriends to get an abortion.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's pressure, actually.
There's a reason why Hugh Hefner was behind the passing of abortion, because he made millions on selling casual sex with no consequences.
Right.
Newsflash, guys, sex is a biological act.
Right.
And its main purpose in all of evolution or creationary purposes is why did God create two? To create a godly seed. I'm not saying that every time, and this is where everybody's, well, Christians just say every time you have sex, you're supposed to be doing it for having kids. No. We're talking about biology. I have farm animals out there. Their main purpose is to have little piggies, okay? There are subsequent reasons for this act, but the main biological purpose, the scientific purpose of sexual life. I remember sitting there in like 4th grade. You have the asexual creatures and you have the sexual creatures. And these creatures, sexual creatures reproduce through a sexual act of two creatures coming together. Asexuals reproduce on their own, right?
Right.
So here's the thing. That's biology. That's what we're talking about.
Are you sure that it didn't come about evolutionarily, if that's a word, just because people wanted to? Like, no. Really? They just wanted the act?
And I'm not
Are you sure that's not real?
You know what? Just for kicks, just for right now.
All right, look that up. I want to read some more comments on this post that I made. Our friend Daniel says, in my entire life, I, as a male, never had a close call. It was something I took very seriously. It absolutely sickens me to see that some pregnancies are aborted so easily. Also, I have a friend who was not able to have children as his wife had cancer and cannot have kids. She is 100% cancer-free. When they went to the adoption route, it cost them almost $40,000.
I think that's the conversation.
How about having these women who don't want to have children, they are carrying, give it up for adoption, and we, the United States, make it affordable for people to adopt.
We have to do that. And this is what I think everybody can get behind, because when we're talking about taxes and things that people should pay for, we pay for roads and bridges and things that everybody uses, and I get that, yada yada yada. I'm not really behind a lot of it, but still, when it comes to elective things such as schooling, I am not behind that.
Right.
Okay. I can get behind, or I'm not going to shout out as loud when taxes are used for somebody who has nothing.
Exactly.
But our society is actually the one other reason I believe that taxes would be constitutional is when there is a person or somebody that has nobody.
Yeah.
That's a baby or something, an orphan.
Right.
Okay. Then we are collectively responsible.
Exactly.
For these orphans. And so there should be a system in place. If there is government funded Medicaid for the babies, there should be some sort of system, because we already have foster care. Right. Why is it that adopting costs $40,000? There should be a better system, and I think the government actually puts constraints on adoption.
Right.
If they let those go. But
let me keep going, because I really thought this was a very well-rounded discussion that we were having on this post that I made. Our friend Karen says, and this is the other side, Just because I am pro-choice does not mean I am pro-abortion. No court or government should dictate what a woman chooses. Each case and woman is different. Rape, incest, and horrid circumstances occur far more often than reported. Giving birth to a child conceived out of horror and not being given a choice by her and her family is Dark Ages law. This has become religion and government where it has no place. Politics and money for re-election have invaded our country, which to me are unconstitutional. I wholeheartedly disagree that laws should rule over women in the name of political cause. This is what this is, politics and not human and especially women's rights. We are equal to men in every way except anatomy. Our friend Jason said, and this was tongue in cheek. I'm going to read you. I'm going to go through them. Hang on. Let me read Jason's is short. This is tongue-in-cheek on his part. I also agree we should be allowed to kill people that injure us mentally, physically, or financially, but for some reason the government forces us to go with what they want. They should stay out of our business. My life, my choice. Leah says, did you know less than 1% of all abortions are sought because of rape? What about grown women who consistently have sex and consensually have sex and use abortion as birth control, which is 99% of all abortions? I don't believe anyone should be told what to do with their body, but there are exceptions to that rule. Men's bodies are used and forced to work to pay child support. This is a really good point, by the way. For children they don't want. My body is used many hours a year to pay for other people's educations. Anyone who works at the point of going to jail, they are forced to labor for the others. It's called taxes. I understand the argument for rape and incest, but not for killing a baby when someone consensually has sex. People need to face the consequences of their actions. Parents can't kill their newborns simply because they are a burden, but they can render themselves unfit and hand over the child to the state. No one is forced to raise a child. And then I said, I respectfully disagree, and this was back to Karen, and thank you for your comment. It's nice to have a civil discussion with differing opinions. I would concur with Leah on the rape and incest issue. She's spot on. But here's the issue when people say that it's my body, my choice. There are now two bodies. This is not a religious issue any more than murder of any other human is a religious issue. We as society decide what laws to make to keep society safe. Women should be kept safe at all costs. So should men. Our individual rights should be protected at all costs. So should men's. But my right to protect my body does not allow me to murder someone else's. Infants of all stages of development feel pain during abortion. That is murder. It's their tiny body with their tiny choice. But because they don't have a voice, it's allowed to be silently snuffed out. This is wrong. As your friend Karen, I say this in love because I've always wondered what it's like to be a sound-minded person who is pro-choice. But why is it that people on the pro-choice side of the aisle view those of us who view a child in the womb as a real life as hateful and awful? I view well-meaning people on the pro-choice side of the aisle as wanting to care about women, but misinformed about there being a real live baby inside the womb. It's a noble stance to want to protect women. I'm just curious why so many pro-choice people don't feel protecting an innocent life is noble as well. And then I added, also, I would like to offer this for consideration for the my body, my choice discussion. I propose that if a man asks the woman, or in many cases, young girl, to have an abortion, he should be absolved from paying child support of any kind, ever. His choice is to have sex without the byproduct of sex. It has been for thousands of years. And it's his choice not to have that child. He gets to walk away scot-free. That way, we really make men and women equal in matters of choice. If he can't force her to murder the child, which actually many times it does happen, one of the reasons why I'm against abortion, then he can't be forced to pay child support for 18 years. It would be unfair, I say.
Yeah, exactly. Here are some misconceived ideas. They felt that they said that this is the strongest pro-life law in the country. It's signed in. It's called the Human Life Protection Act, and that's exactly what this is. It was signed into law on Wednesday, making abortion and attempted abortion a felony offense in the state. That's what murder is required of. However, the bill will not hold women who have abortions criminally or civilly responsible, and that was a lie that went around saying you want to punish women.
Right.
This bill, rightfully so, because I am for no bill that punishes a woman that has it, because you never know. A doctor could drug you. Somebody could drug you into an abortion clinic.
Right.
No woman should be held responsible
Right.
for somebody else performing an abortion upon her.
Right.
And I do not believe that she should be held responsible in the same way as slitting your wrists or drinking while pregnant. Women drink while pregnant all the time. People drink and drive. But if they're caught because they could hurt somebody else outside. But I don't believe that a woman, even if she hurts herself in some way, you're hurting yourself.
Right.
And so self-mutilation is not a criminal act. It's a mental stability thing.
Exactly.
But anyways, here's the thing. This bill will not hold women who have abortions criminally or civilly responsible, and there is an exception in the bill to allow abortion to prevent a serious health risk to a woman. Not even her life, just a serious health risk.
Right.
Okay? That makes sense because no one should have to, the hardest thing is to have to choose between two lives.
Right.
Okay? That would hold a paramedic responsible for saving one person and not the other person.
Exactly.
So if the mother is ill or is going to be injured, then yeah, I'm sorry. That is a horrible, awful thing.
Yeah. Well, but here's an addition to that. I know that a lot of Christians are upset about that, or they say it's not a win, or, whatever. You have to take what you can get. Even if somebody says it's going to mentally harm me and somehow their psychologist can somehow get them to have an abortion by some means that is not right, it's better than what we have right now. Mm-hmm. So you should tout it as a win.
Right. Right. But anyways, and this article says that abortion is never actually medically necessary. They can always keep you going. They can always keep the baby going. All right. So claim women will be criminally prosecuted for abortions. The bill clearly states that women will not be held criminally liable. It says relating to abortion to provide that a woman who receives an abortion will not be held criminally culpable or civilly liable for receiving the abortion. Section 5 states no woman upon whom an abortion is performed or attempted to be performed shall be criminally or civilly liable.
Amazing.
That's it. Wow. That bottom line, and we shouldn't even be discussing anything else, right? Women who miscarry will be punished. False. Abortion is not a miscarriage. Abortion is the intentional killing of a preborn. Miscarriage occurs naturally. Abortion is clearly defined in the bill as the use or prescription of any instrument, medicine, drug, or any other substance or device with the intent to terminate the pregnancy of a woman known to be pregnant with the knowledge that the termination by those means will, with reasonable likelihood, cause the death of the unborn child. This is well written. I believe it's well thought out. The bill states clearly the term abortion does not include activities done with the intent to save the life of a person, to preserve the health of the unborn child, remove the dead unborn child, deliver unborn child prematurely to avoid serious health risks to unborn's mother, child's mother, or preserve health of the unborn child. A procedure or act to terminate the pregnancy of a woman with an outside pregnancy. They can't live. It's fine. Mm-hmm. All right. The procedure or act to terminate the pregnancy of a woman with the unborn child has a lethal anomaly. Meaning it's going to die. There are children sometimes born without any brain, born without or not born, but conceived without hearts and lungs and things like that. This is, but these are anomalies. That's why it's in the bill as an anomaly. It doesn't happen. Right. Okay. But that's what the pro-abortion people always tout: rape, incest, and life of the mother. Yeah. Okay. This bill covers, well, it doesn't cover rape and incest. I actually very into this. It goes that far. Alabama is not trying to penalize women who miscarry. Let's be intellectually honest and fair to the drafters of the bill. The bill clearly defines abortion as the intentional killing of the preborn. Another claim says the Alabama law does not allow for any exceptions. The bill states an abortion shall be permitted if an attending physician licensed in Alabama determines an abortion is necessary in order to prevent a serious health risk to the child's mother. Except in the case of a medical emergency as defined herein, the physician's determination shall be confirmed in writing by a second physician. So you have to have two. The bill, however, does not permit abortion for rape or incest. Statistics show that only a very small fraction of abortions are committed for rape and incest or the mother's health.
Wait, on that subject, though, by the way, obviously I'm not one, but I have seen videos from countless women who conceived while they, after they had been raped, okay, and they view that child as the blessing that came out of something horrific.
Or a second victim, right? You don't...
Or a second victim.
And that's what I always say when it comes to rape and incest. You don't kill somebody... Mm-hmm. No, two wrongs don't make a right.
Right.
Pro-lifers want to punish children who are victims of rape or incest. The pro-life community seeks support, equality, and protection for both the mother and the child, but abuse does not justify abortion. The guilty party in a sexual assault case is the rapist, who should be punished as severely as the law permits. Rapists, however, don't face the death penalty, so why should an innocent child be sentenced to death for the crimes of his father?
Right. What?
I have a comment.
You want to come down?
No, rape or molesting is an awful thing.
Yes.
And it shouldn't have happened.
Right.
But murdering a child is not going to fix that.
Right.
Exactly.
Murdering a child is not going to fix a rape.
Make it right.
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 Well, and
the child that somebody adopted would make it right.
Right.
exactly. Christy Lynn on Facebook Live says, also, if you kill a pregnant lady, it's double murder, right?
Right.
As far as I'm concerned, in most states, that's correct.
And here's how this will actually protect women and pregnant teens, because pregnant teens or preteens are a red flag for possible sexual abuse. When you see them pregnant, there's probably somebody who's sexually abusing them. Okay, but when the rapists usually take victims to abortion facilities to cover up the crime, as do incest. Planned Parenthood and abortion providers often fail to report suspicion of abuse in violation of law. Majority of sex trafficked women may be forced to abort. Even when victims tell Planned Parenthood they were raped, court records show they were returned to their rapists.
Right.
Hollywood, pro-abortion media, and abortion-supported politicians failed to call out Planned Parenthood. Last year, Live Action News reported how an abortion facility in Alabama failed to report abortions committed on an underage girl. Men are leading the way for abortion, to ban abortion. But then this bill was sponsored by a female lawmaker, Representative Terry Collins, and was signed into law by the female Governor Kay Ivory. Pro-life organizations are led by women. But remember, Roe v. Wade, a Supreme Court decision, on the other hand, was imposed by all men. Remember that. Doctors will receive 99 years in prison if convicted under this new law. As with any felony, the law provides a range of punishment options. According to the local media, under the law, performing an abortion would be considered a Class A felony, which carries the sentence of life or 10 to 99 years in prison. Okay, so everybody says 99 years in prison. No, it's just classified as a felony, and those are the punishments for a felony. So we're spelling all these myths out because there's a lot out there.
Right.
There are different classes of felonies. So Class A, B, and C. Thousands of women will die for back alley abortions. This is false. The Constitution grants the right to abortion. There's no right to abortion in the Constitution. I don't know why anybody ever says that. Roe v. Wade is settled law. That's a claim. While some consider it settled law can be and has been overturned. Roe v. Wade is bad law and should be reconsidered. Racism and segregation used to be the law of the land. So, all right.
Well, and also, constitutionally, the Supreme Court's not supposed to make law. By the way. So Dale Jones on here, and I appreciate the comment because as Lee and I have said, and we will continue to say, that men have an equal say in all of this. I believe that a child is the man's child, and it's the woman's job as a helper to help raise that man's child. But he says, in the case of rape, you have to give the child up for adoption. No woman would ever want a child who was the product of rape. You're 100% wrong. Well, not 100%. I would probably say, somewhere over 50% wrong, because we have heard story after story after story. There are women that would not want the product of rape, and guess what? That child can be given up for adoption. But a lot of women, and you think about it, when this topic comes up, what would I do? I would definitely 100% keep that child, and I would praise God for the miracle. Do you guys know how difficult it is to get pregnant?
There's a woman who was raped, who was married, and she kept the baby.
And the husband loves that child. Okay, so if somebody gets pregnant while raped, the chances are actually slim that will ever happen. It's hard to get pregnant anyway. Okay, so
only a certain time of the month you can get pregnant. So
it's like 3 days, like 4 days.
Right.
Hello, Mama.
When I was there at the time, and soon afterwards, men were fighting because they had sex with their wife to have a child.
Yeah.
So that's their child. It's their seed. They put in that woman to have a child.
Right.
That child isn't just a woman's. It's the father. So we're talking about the rights of a father, rights of men.
I've got it.
But men fought in courts, and the courts totally ignored men's rights.
So we have some hypocrisy going on here. Let's take into account Monsanto. Okay? What do they call when they not copyright their seeds, but kind of?
They do. They copyright
their seeds. If you save your seed as a farmer, your corn seed, and it's Monsanto seed, they will come and sue you because that seed is theirs. The product that grows from that seed is theirs, right? Legally, and I don't actually agree that this should be able to be done, but legally, that is law. So legally, before law, somebody could use that as case law. Right. In a case where, man, listen, I'm copyrighting my seed. That's mine. That child that's in there is mine. It belongs to me, and you have to carry it to term and then give it over.
Right. So this woman here, she kept her, I believe, baby. Yeah. It's absolutely, the whole argument, like, women they make no sense. My body, my choice. But then the liberals, I kept thinking about this. I was driving home. Liberals are the first ones to tell you to pay for somebody else's education, to pay for somebody else's.
Yeah. Which
Do you
makes
understand
you work, use
that
your body.
you are getting up every single day, and a large portion of the hours that you work go to somebody else? So somebody's actually forcing you to do something with your body.
It's called slavery.
4 years ago, I was brutally attacked in a hotel room, beaten, tortured, and raped. My body
they're gonna
found
be
in
able to hear it or
sterile. I'm not here tonight to represent crime victims. I'm here tonight to represent the 30 women a year who become pregnant after
32,000,
rape,
she said.
and the 75% of us who give our children life.
75%, she
Part of a
said.
global organization called Save the One. Save the One is mothers from rape, children, adult children who are conceived in rape. And it's this people group who I'm talking about, the conceived in rape, who are targeted, it seems, for eradication.
They're targeted, and what's so crazy is that you can look at somebody who has like some sort of cerebral palsy or MS, and you can see that they have a disability.
Yeah.
But the what people do to people who say, well, they conceived in rape, or somebody kept the rapist child, it's like they look, ooh, you're ooh,
Yeah.
ooh.
This doesn't make sense to me, because the Supreme Court has already decided that for a rapist to be punished with death is considered cruel and unusual punishment. And yet somehow
That's true.
we are
People
okay
have
with
wanted to give the death penalty, and I'm all for it, a death penalty for rapists. But they say it's cruel and unusual, too much.
Right.
killing the children who were not even in existence at the time the crime was committed. I'm here tonight to bear witness to the lies that I heard and the lies that I was told, that if you just abort, everything will be okay and you'll forget. If you just abort, then you can move on. There's no forgetting. No woman is ever going to forget what happened to her. I've been told so many times that if you just had an abortion, you won't always have this reminder hanging over your head, this reminder. Is my son a reminder? He absolutely is. My son is a reminder every day that as women, we can rise above our circumstances. My son is a reminder that love is always stronger than hate, and that who we are as human beings is not determined by how we were conceived.
Isn't that supposed to be the liberals' line?
I know. It's hypocrisy. It's whatever fits them in the moment.
A woman at her most broken needs hope and help and love and people rallying around her. She does not need violence on top of violence, tragedy on top of tragedy. I'm here tonight, one woman, but I speak for most of us when I say, stop calling my son a rapist child. Stop calling him evil seed and child of the devil. He is my son, and he has a right to be here. Do not use me and my rape and my story and the story of all of us mothers from rape who love our children as a banner to hide behind and excuse the genocide of the innocent. We love our children. The first time I saw my son's heartbeat was on an ultrasound. It's the same heartbeat that beats in his 3-year-old body today. He is an exceptional child, but he is not an exception. I beg you to think of this. The heart that beats in my son, the heart that beat in him at 4 weeks is the heart that beats in him at 3. It's the heart that will beat in him at 30. It loves and it hurts and it feels just like mine and just like yours. I beg you not to stop it.
Wow, that's so
powerful. And I think that this goes back to the eugenics with Margaret Sanger.
Yeah.
And she wanted to eliminate anybody who had a drunkard in their family, and thinking that that moral things were passed down genetically.
Yeah.
When actually we all know that it's cultural.
Right.
And it's, if you do know that if that child were raised in a rapist home, then it could be a bad seed.
Right.
But our DNA does not determine our morality and who we are.
Exactly.
Because people rise above all the time to become better than their forebearers, better than their parents, better than their grandparents, and people who can be born to perfectly wonderful, beautiful people
are crazy
and can turn out to be cray-cray.
Right.
It's not, seriously. Alcoholism is not genetic, but it is cultural.
Right.
And these are learned behaviors.
Right.
So I would say don't have that child around that person ever, obviously. But here's the thing. Ohio, Kentucky, There's a long list. Now, Alabama, but Missouri House just passes a strict anti-abortion bill.
It's got to be signed by the governor.
So it's not quite as strict as the law in Alabama. Governor Kay Ivey just signed into law an anti-abortion bill passed by lawmakers in Missouri on Friday. Today, right now, would ban abortions after more than 8 weeks. With the state's governor opposed to sign it, Missouri is about to become the latest state to pass a restrictive abortion law as Republicans. How about to pass a restrictive anti-murder law? As Republicans angle to get the issue back in front of the Supreme Court.
Awesome.
Missouri's Republicans-controlled House passed the bill HB 128, 110 to 44 vote on Friday, one day after the Senate passed a similar bill. The bill would make it illegal for a woman to get an abortion after the 8th week of pregnancy. Doctors who violate the law will face a Class B felony punishable by 15 years in prison, which isn't as much as the Class A felony with a maximum of 99 years in prison. Like the Alabama bill, Missouri's bill doesn't allow exceptions for rape or incest. The bill now travels to the desk of Missouri Governor Mike Parson. Missouri is also the home to Josh Hawley, who is a firebrand of awesomeness. I think that if I bring up, I saw InfoWars put together a little compilation of Josh Hawley I listened to a couple days ago. It was pretty awesome. Missouri would then join Ohio, Georgia, Mississippi, Alabama as a handful of other states in passing restrictive abortion laws. Now, remember, this is happening at the state legislative.
Right.
These are bills that have been put before, like the Ohio bill was put before the House and the Senate year after year after year. It was put before our own governor, John Kasich.
Right.
He vetoed the bill.
Right.
The new governor, Mike DeWine, ran on a platform saying, I will sign it.
Yeah.
That's the only way he won. So here's the thing, guys. What we're seeing here is the new anti-slavery movement.
I know. I love
and you see the southern states saying these people are not people. These people don't have fully developed rights. At the time, they did not believe that the Negro, the black person, was fully developed in the mind.
Right.
Okay? They literally didn't believe that. And we had to see firebrands like John Quincy Adams argue over and over. We had gag rules.
Here's the deal,
just
though.
like we have gag rules
In
today.
keeping with that, your brain isn't fully developed, especially if you're a guy, until you're like 20s. Mm-hmm. So we could kill you until then if we are your parent. I mean, seriously, if that's the logic.
Right.
If you're not fully developed there.
My body, my choice argument is completely invalid. We shouldn't be making laws about unborn babies' bodies. I like that. Let's see. Dr. Gina says, I joined Sebastian Gorka in his DC studio to discuss my personal experience as a post-abortion counselor. She says, and of course you're not going to bring it up, why add one trauma on top to another?
Well, and okay, so in keeping with that line, well, if you're trying to get it up there, I can expound on that a little bit. I don't think that if you've never had an abortion, and I have not, you can't imagine what it's like to go through that physically, mentally, and emotionally. Mm-hmm. And you won't know until after it happens. Mm-hmm. But I do know from hearing from people who have had abortions that the emotional trauma that happens to you for the rest of your life is awful. It's one of the worst loads that you can carry.
Vice President Pence says this, I'm proud to be part of a pro-life administration, and President Trump and I have worked to stand for the sanctity of life since the outset of this administration. I have goosebumps. This is one of the best days. It's one of the best shows. I'm just so excited to bring this to you guys because we're not talking about New York. We're not talking about the post-abortion-ness. We're not talking about Virginia. We are talking about people who have spent hours and hours and hours knocking on doors to get their state legislative seat, to put these bills forth, to talk to each other. And they have these men and women across the country led by, I believe, the power and the Spirit of God. When you do that, when you open your eyes.
I love it. It's great.
She's great. See, great. When they do that, when you see the fruit, this is a moment that we all are taking part of. This is a Holy Spirit-led moment because we are seeing the fruit come off of the trees that were planted years and years and years ago. So why are they all fruiting right now because God planted the seeds
Right.
at the same time.
And you know why the left is losing their minds? Because of the people that are sitting on the Supreme Court.
But sadly, many states around the country are also adopting extreme pro-abortion legislation.
Right.
We recently saw the state, New York, embrace late-term abortion. And frankly, the fact that the United States Senate today refuses even to vote on a bill that would protect children that are born alive is deeply troubling to millions of Americans. So I'm proud to stand with this president, proud to be part of a pro-life administration, and we'll continue to stand strongly here. This is our moment. This is the anti-slavery moment. This is a revolutionary moment. What we're seeing, the attacks that we are undergoing, I guarantee you that we were flagged for a copyright claim because of who we are as a channel, not because of just some random copyright music claim or something like that.
Right.
We are being silenced. Candace Owens was just taken off of Facebook for 7 days because she posted a tweet. I wanted to show you guys this because it all goes together.
All right, while you're looking for that, let me read some comments here. Baker Mom says, our governor here in Missouri has agreed to sign the anti-abortion bill when it gets to his desk. I can't wait. El Chavez says, I live in Missouri. I love this bill. There are so many people out there that are really, really excited about what's going on with the pro-life movement.
She tweeted out, Black America must wake up to the great liberal hoax. White supremacy is not a threat. Liberal supremacy is. No one else can see your post. We have community standards to encourage people to express themselves and connect with each other in a way that's respectful to everyone. And she was taken off because she said white supremacy is not a threat. Liberal supremacy is. And they said that is hateful.
Wow.
Now, because
but you can say all you want about white supremacy all day long.
Yeah. So she was able to tweet out to Donald Trump. She has a big voice, and her Facebook page is back. Alex Jones's isn't back.
Right.
Paul Joseph Watson isn't back, but hers is back.
To Stand for Him on YouTube says, thank God that abortion is coming to an end. I am excited. I'm excited right along with you.
We have reason to celebrate. We're gonna sing some songs at the end of the show because this is a moment where we gotta celebrate. Okay, there's times in your life when you do something hard and you're fighting and you just gotta have a party. And this is one of these moments because what I'm seeing is a liberal little meltdown. They are made of wax and they're just melting all over.
I think that's it.
Look who voted yes and tell me what they all have in common. Well, these people don't understand. There was a woman who signed it into law and a woman who put it in there. Dear male legislators, stop making laws restricting women's reproductive freedoms. Women and their healthcare providers know better than you do.
Okay, so Will Schaefer, you're a man. Stop talking about it. But I'm just kidding. And men have the equal right to say have their say on this. But I want to tell you guys something. They belittle women in Alabama when they say that it was men that decided this because. Guess what? Women have the vote. Women voted these policymakers into their positions to make policies that reflect the people.
This is so weird to me.
Was it only men that voted for these men?
It boggles my mind that these women are so angry. Look how vile they are. Okay? A uterus with a thumb sticking up or a middle finger sticking up. They are so angry that they can't kill babies inside of them. They're so angry that they can't kill babies. Like, who gets that angry? But
and that's the thing that gets me. You can't really have a discussion with liberals on this because
we're not making women get pregnant. That's what they're acting
Well, and that's what Matt Walsh said. Nobody is making a woman get pregnant and have a child, okay?
It's not like we're lining women up and saying, you have to have a baby, you have to have it. That's the argument that they're saying. It's my body, it's my body, my choice. You can't make me get pregnant. You can't put stuff in me.
Right.
Right? But you can't now you have to let that person live.
Yeah.
You did this. 99% of people did it themselves.
Well, and that's the thing, the hypocrisy that they always just tout rape and incest, which we just heard from a woman who clearly blows that theory out of the water, but they never address the rest.
Listen to this. I can't stop shaking with confusion, tears all day. What is this? My 3 daughters and I can barely speak about it. Power, control, ignorance. That's what. None of this matters. You're killing us all. Serious? And you got a woman to seal the deal, dude? No. This is what we call mental instability.
Derangement. Yeah.
You have 3 daughters. Here's that somebody made a really crude thing. It's called a quarter. Keep it between your legs. You won't get pregnant. And everybody's like, but what about rape? Less than 1%. Less than 1%. Okay, we need to put rape and incest to the side.
Yeah.
Okay? Because a child is a child. What you're telling your daughter is go have sex whatever you want.
Yeah.
And if you get pregnant, kill it.
Right. But if you get pregnant and you want to keep the baby, that guy has to pay for it, whether he chooses to or not.
You know these liberal women are knocking on the door, banging, saying,
Give me my
baby.
support. You
Get
pay me my
all
baby.
my child support. It's mine. You owe it to me.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Unbelievable.
Oh my gosh. And then people talking about people just don't know much.
So I
about
want to give you guys
biology.
a sneak peek of a video I'm going to do. I'm actually going to do 2 videos. I hope the second one's going to require, it's going to be like a legit skit, and it's going to require some time and video editing, and I'm hoping I can put it together. But the first one, I don't mind giving you the punchline to this. And that is that I want to dispel the illusion that people that claim to be pro-choice are actually pro-choice.
Yeah.
They are not pro-choice, because we saw that congressman that went and harassed the woman that was praying outside of the Planned Parenthood. And we see that there are like the Coalition for Life that stands outside of Planned Parenthood because they want to offer the women that are going in there another choice. People that are quote unquote pro-choice don't want that woman to have any other alternative or choice.
Right.
Most women that walk into an abortion clinic feel that they have to go there because they don't have any choice in the matter. So pro-choice isn't actually pro-choice. This is a female feeling locked into and pushed into a corner of, I don't have any other choice than to kill the life that is inside of me. And liberals want to make it so that they don't have any choice. If they actually cared about choice, within Planned Parenthood clinics, there would be pamphlet after pamphlet after pamphlet, and the counselors would be counseling these girls and telling them, if you would like to offer your baby up for adoption, we can help you there. If you would like to keep your baby, we can help you financially.
Right.
That's what the Coalition for Life does. They offer choice, and the liberals hate it. They hate when these young women or women of any age are offered any other choice than murder. You are not pro-choice if you are pro-choice. You are you're backed into a corner. If you don't want that child, your only option is to kill it.
Exactly.
And they don't want that woman to hear that there are other options. They want to keep your ears closed. Don't listen to those bad people that tell you you have more than one choice here. That's what they say. That's dispelling the lie that being pro-choice is actually pro-choice.
Right. Right. Exactly. All right. So Donald Trump is doing a lot of interesting things with migration. Lately, he is signing a bill into law that makes it so that you have to know you have to have, before you immigrate here, you have to take here, you have to take a civics test and speak English.
Right.
That was yesterday.
Which, I always thought that was a thing. Like,
well, not for immigration.
Like, I thought to become a citizen.
Okay. I'm talking about immigration, period. To immigrate.
Okay.
You're immigrating here doesn't mean you become a citizen right away.
Right. I guess you're right.
Right.
I was putting the two together.
Yeah. So, but Donald Trump is actually dumping thousands of migrants in Broward and Palm Beach counties. The Trump administration is about to release hundreds of migrants caught along the southern border into Florida's Broward and Palm Beach counties, according to local officials. According to Broward Mayor Mark Bogan, the Palm County Beach Sheriff Rick Bradshaw, there will be 2 weekly plane loads of immigrants starting in about 2 weeks, according to what they've been told to expect. The 270 weekly passengers, or just over 1,000 a month, will be split equally between the 2 counties. That said, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, along with local members of Congress and Florida's 2 Republican senators, haven't heard anything about the plan. So we do know that Donald Trump has said, you know what, if you're a liberal county and you're a sanctuary city, here's the people that you want. So ICE to hire a contractor to transport 225,000 migrants. Meanwhile, ICE will be transporting approximately 225,000 migrant children and families to shelters across the country over the next 5 years as they await the processing of their asylum claims.
Wow.
The agency is seeking the services of a highly responsible contractor to fully embrace the philosophy of humanely treating the unaccompanied minors and their family units. Hopefully this doesn't turn into some giant child exploitation ring. But what's going to happen with these people? 250,000 people are supposed to receive go through asylum courts.
Yeah.
We don't have enough courts for that. You don't have enough courts for that.
Right. And how many of them actually show up, though? I mean,
I don't know.
I like what French Tutu says. Good point, ladies. Pro-choice is no choice. I'm going to steal that. I like that. Pro-choice is no choice.
Yeah. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that, but I'm going to throw in this because this is breaking news. If you didn't hear, Joe Biden is the number one choice right now amongst Democrats to be president. He's a joke of all jokers. He's embroiled in a lot of controversy here with the Ukraine because, Donald Trump colluded with Russia. Well, he got a Ukrainian attorney general fired who was investigating his son who has ties with Ukraine. So what if we just went over and over? Ties to Ukraine, ties to Ukraine, ties to Ukraine.
It's harder to say Ukraine than it is Russia, though.
Yeah. Because
it doesn't roll off the tongue.
So, Breitbart News has exclusively obtained a heretofore unreported on police report from days before the 2016 presidential election that describes how a cocaine pipe that authorities determined was used to smoke cocaine was found in a rental car returned to Arizona Hertz location in the middle of the night. Also found in the vehicle were several personal effects of Hunter Biden. Then Vice President Joe Biden's son, like 2 of his D.C. driver's license, multiple credit cards, and personally identifying information like a Delaware Attorney General badge and a U.S. Secret Service business card that police said bore his name. Hunter Biden, according to the police report, had rented the vehicle from a location in California with the intent to return it to Prescott, Arizona, where it was discovered the morning after it was dropped off with drug paraphernalia and Hunter Biden's personal effects.
Hang on, pause. Okay, I just have to say that, I've rented cars before. And I always make sure that, we've vacuumed them before. To make sure that we're returning it clean. I can't fathom leaving a crack pipe in a car. Hang on. If you're using that, don't you think you're going to need it again in the future? I mean, do you have those at your disposal? Your driver's license? I mean, how high were you when you left that vehicle? I mean, seriously. She's reading ahead for you.
Yeah. So, it says that upon he didn't drop the keys in the box. The keys were left in the gas tank compartment of the vehicle.
Ooh, wow.
Also found inside the vehicle, per the police report, were 2 driver's licenses, both bearing Hunter Biden's legal name, Robert Biden. Why did he have 2 driver's licenses? As well as some credit cards with the same name, and a Secret Service business card. Hang
on though, because I'm gonna play not devil's advocate, but seriously,
it seems
like a stitch up. This is so absurd. I can't even imagine that as somebody being that high that they would do all of that. This sounds like a plant.
The next morning, according to the police report, a man who identifies himself as Joseph McKee called the Hertz rental car counter to inform them of how the keys to the car were left in the vehicle's gas cap rather than the normal spot. McGee informed the rental car company employee, according to the police, that his friend was feeling sick, so they didn't know what to do when the car was returned. Police, according to a supplement report filed by a Prescott Police Department detective, sought and obtained a subpoena to discover the source of the Joseph McGee phone call and trace it to a phone number owned and operated by a renowned colon hydrotherapist. Police attempted to find and interview Joseph McGee, but weren't able to. And they also, per the documents, attempted to call Hunter Biden himself from the phone numbers he provided to the rental car company. Prescott Police Department officials were unable to reach Hunter Biden during the investigation for an interview on the matter, though, according to documents, they did attempt to call him.
Wow.
So he obviously didn't answer the call.
Strange.
Yeah.
So that's even more strange, though. If it was a setup, you would think you would answer the phone dude, that wasn't my stuff. I've got my driver's license, or somebody stole my driver's license, or it wasn't my crack pipe. I've got mine.
Oh, by the way, of note, Hunter was discharged from the Navy after he tested positive for cocaine.
Okay. So it wasn't a stitch up. Then you are just a fool, man. Just a fool.
Hunter, listen, there's so much craziness in Joe Biden's past. It's unbelievable. Too much, actually. So, let's see. Where do I want to go next? William Barr. All right. So
Love him. So fantastic. Those glasses, can't get enough of them.
I can't get enough of this guy either. Things are happening right now. William Barr has
Can we call him Bill Barr? I thought that was better. It's alliteration. I want to make a song about him. Bill Barr, Bill Barr. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when he comes for you? Bill Barr, Bill Barr. You're gonna get the BB thing again. If you're from the UK and you've never seen Cops, I don't know how to help you, but I think that he needs his own theme song. Somebody needs to do that. Somebody that does videography stuff like that, and then give him the shades and the sunglasses and the pipe and stuff and the whatever cigar.
All right, treason. Barr finds government power was used to spy on American citizens. Now, he has an interview. I don't know if it's actually aired yet or not. I just saw a clip of it last night. He sat down with Fox News, and you guys are going to want to watch this because what we're seeing happen with the abortion, anti-abortion laws, and now this unraveling. Bill Barr has appointed a prosecutor to investigate the investigators.
It's very exciting.
So this is really awesome. Not a special prosecutor with, total...
Any prosecutor is investigating. It's helpful.
In his first pair of interviews since being sworn in, Attorney General Barr told Fox News and Wall Street Journal that he was pursuing the investigation into the origins of the Trump-Russia probe. An investigation he has tasked John Durham, the U.S. attorney from Connecticut, with leading because Americans need to know whether the government put a thumb on the scale, as his quote, to try to undermine President Trump, both during the campaign and during the first 2 years of his term, just like we need to ensure that foreign actors don't influence the outcome of our elections. He has said, we need to make sure that we have people in the upper echelons of our government aren't trying to do the same thing.
Right.
Separately, he told the Wall Street Journal that government power was used to spy on American citizens. I can't imagine any world where we wouldn't take a look and make sure that was done properly. Barr has doubled down on using the term spying, which has angered Democrats after first using it during the Senate committee testimony from April 10th. Where he said, I think spying did occur. And the AG has declined to elaborate on what prompted these concerns, though he has said he'd be interested to see the underlying intelligence that sparked the FBI investigation. So I want you to, where's my video?
Okay, so Gonzalez says, I still don't trust Barr until I see some indictments. Now, okay, I get what you're saying. Mm-hmm. Give him a chance. Let's see what happens. That being said, the Mueller investigation literally just ended. Mm-hmm. So I think that it's the fact that the ball is rolling this fast is impressive to me.
Yes, it is actually.
So I think that we can be cautiously excited. I don't see anything wrong with that. I think that's what we should be.
Cautiously excited. So I'm going to try to get you the video.
All right. While you're looking for that, let me hit this abortion topic one more time because Bill Burnett sent me an email. And Bill, I hope you don't mind me saying this. I want everybody to be praying for Bill because he's had some heart issues. So he sent me some messages, which I haven't had a chance to respond to, but I want you to know that we are praying for you. And the whole Resistance Chicks family is praying for you as well. Bill Burnett's the one that has sent us many things, including some fantastic cross-stitched custom pieces that won in the fair and the whole 9 yards. But he says, my grandmother was raped by her half-brother. So that's a double thing. Now we got kind of like a molestation and rape tied in one. And she became pregnant with my father. She sought to have an abortion, but could not find an abortionist in 1924. She had her son and abandoned him. He was raised by a Catholic teacher at an Indian school. If she had found one, then I would never have lived.
What?
Nor my son, who is a chef with the Marriott Hotels, and another who has a doctorate and is a poli-sci professor at the University of California. Many lives have been greatly affected because my father was not aborted.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bill. And praise God that there was not an abortion clinic back then.
Wonderful. That,
awesome.
See, there you go.
She believes you lied under oath.
Nancy Pelosi.
What do you think of that charge?
Well, I think it's a laughable charge, and I think it's largely being made to try to discredit me, partly because they may be concerned about the outcome of a review of what happened during the election. But obviously, you can look at the face of my testimony and see on its face that there was nothing inaccurate about it.
So Nancy Pelosi had said that he's lying, but obviously this is a 15-minute interview. We can.
Well, the investigation will show I believe, the corruption that happened. And I think on at least a small level, I think you can, I don't have any problem predicting that you will see indictments of like Peter Strzok and Lisa Page and all of those people. They are going to be in jail. They're going to be in jail. Now, how far up that will go, I think is yet to be seen.
Right, exactly.
They should be afraid. They should be very afraid.
So
and
the full interview is out. It was out 9 a.m. today.
I think you can also be optimistic, I would hope, if Lisa Page and Peter Strzok and the like, those kind of lower-ish, higher-up people, okay, if they do get indicted, if they go to jail, you'd better believe that these people are so weak that they will be singing for lesser sentences. So they will be ratting out people above them to get a lower sentence. They don't care.
All right, we are going to play a little bit more of this because this is a pretty intense interview. It's kind of like the most important interview in a long time. So when I have not seen all of it. I only saw some clips of it where he, but
Patriot Gallery, you got something to add?
Yeah.
Here she comes. Patriot Gallery has been busy doing laundry. I've been hearing all the footsteps going upstairs. You should thank her. No, I should thank her. Thank you, Mother. What do you got?
Well, you talked about singing and celebrating. And when the Catholics go to church or mass, they call it celebration. Well, we can't celebrate and leave anybody behind. So the people who are going to be sad, they had an abortion. You talk about alcoholics. If people are going to be sad because they're alcoholics. All this comes down to the guilt and the weight of it all. We went to Russia in 1995. Everybody smoked. Everybody drank. It was years of oppression.
Yeah.
There were people around there anorexic. They weren't anorexic. They were starving.
Right.
Okay, if you have a problem with an addiction, whether it's drug addiction, whatever else, it's from oppression. And if you had an abortion, it's because probably there's no way you could afford it.
Right.
It was oppression.
Yeah.
See, life is free. The food is free. The land is free. Men just steal it and make you pay an exorbitant price for something that God gave you freely.
Right.
And so we got to
I
bring
remember
down
at
those
the hearing about a month ago, you said you're still trying to...
Took all the gold and silver. With that, they made this fake dollars, and then around the world, fiat dollars or crypto, whoever it is, it's fake.
Yeah.
It's not real wealth. When you have a gold piece or silver piece in your hand, coin, you have real wealth. And we have to stop all these wealthy, rich people who have millions of dollars or billions of dollars and say, you're worthless.
Right.
You don't have any gold and silver. You weren't paid gold and silver. So we're all being oppressed. And so you should know it's not your fault.
Right.
Jesus shed his blood. If there's a sin, blood must be shed. So Jesus was beaten. His back was ripped to shreds. His body was broken. He was just broken. And then he shed his blood everywhere. He was an innocent man.
Yeah.
But he died in your place. So yeah,
Right.
you deserve to die. But Jesus is your King and your Savior. He's coming to save you and rescue you from the guilt. And you won't even remember it happened if you allow him into your soul and fill you with his power and with his truth. And you can celebrate with everybody else because Jeremiah 31:33. He writes his word on our hearts and on our soul.
Right.
And it's also Luke, and I can't remember what it is. But that's what Jesus did. He shed his blood so you don't have to go around beating yourself up, beating yourself over the head. I'm a terrible person, I'm a terrible person, That's the devil.
Yeah.
Okay? Either Jesus did pay the price for your sin, or you're a Satanist. And you're possessed by the devil.
Yeah.
Which isn't true. You wouldn't be watching our channel if that was true.
Right.
So just accept it. That's what it says in Luke 4:11 or 8. Jesus paid the price for your sins. Now God forgives your sin. Draw near to God. He's ready to forgive. When God forgives, he makes it right like it never happened.
Right.
Justice is done. You'll find out you didn't have that abortion, or you're not an alcoholic because of something you did.
Right.
And later on, we're going to do a Bible study, and it talks about most people say, why am I like this? And you look for something you did. But you don't look and see. It probably was somebody else. The disciples asked Jesus, who sinned? And now Leah came up with the word, it was for the glory of God. Very rarely is it for the glory of God. Most cases, especially if you're using dollars or pesos or whatever you're using, you're not using real money. That's oppression.
Right.
And so somebody is oppressing you, and because of that, you're not free.
Right.
And then you end up doing all this other stuff, because once God sets you free and you have gold and silver and you're given land, you don't have time to get yourself in trouble.
Right.
You'll be so busy enjoying it. It's a joy to get up and feed the chickens. It's a joy to feed your animals. It's a joy to create and build. You're building outhouses. You're building pig pens. You're building, I don't know, chicken coops. You're always building. You're always creating. You're always stretching your ability. And your whole mind is being used. You'll be so happy all day long, because nothing's new on a farm. Every day is brand new. And God says He renews our life every day. Every day is brand new if you go to the Bible. Right. He renews our youth every day. But that just means He renews our life and our strength. Everything's brand new every day. And you look forward, what am I going to do today? What's new today? And what we do is whenever we do something, we make sure we look back and we enjoy what we did.
Yeah.
And we celebrate it. Like we're building a balcony. Look, we're going to go out there and enjoy it.
It's a deck.
A deck. We're going to sit and enjoy it. We're not going to just, what happens, you go to work and you do all this stuff all day long and you never can enjoy it. You didn't do anything for yourself. You did it for some wealthy person somewhere. Yeah. And you never did anything for yourself that whole day. Because money's worthless. You were paid nothing. It is slavery.
Yeah.
But God is going to set us all free. God is going to forgive our sins.
Amen.
But He's going to bring justice. Vengeance is mine, said the Lord. He'll punish the bad guy. Your whole life will be healed. Your childhood will be healed. Everything will be healed in your mind. That's where the healing takes place in your soul.
Right.
Jesus came to save our soul.
All right, so two things. Patriot Gallery was looking for Hebrews 10:16. She had it correct with Jeremiah 31:33, by the way. This is the covenant I will make with them after that time, says the Lord. I will put my laws in their hearts and I will write them on their minds. So that's number one. Number two is Scotty points out something that we do need to talk about, and that is the fact that if you have had an abortion, God forgives 100%. Okay? Yeah. We do not blame, I don't blame women that have an abortion. No. I blame the society that has made it the go-to.
Exactly.
All right, what do you got?
We just want to stop it from happening again.
Right.
Get your head around everything. What are you trying to figure out?
Well, the first step is find out exactly what happened. And we're trying to get our arms around that, getting all the relevant information from the various agencies, and starting to talk to some of the people that have information. You know, the thing that's interesting about this is that this was handled at a very senior level of these departments. It wasn't handled in the ordinary way that investigations or counterintelligence activities are conducted. It was sort of an ad hoc small group, and most of these people are no longer with the FBI or the CIA or the other agencies involved.
This appears to run deep. Why is it so hard to figure out?
Well, there are two things here. One, no one's really looked at it. I think there's a misconception out there that we know a lot about what happened. The fact of the matter is, Bob Mueller did not look at the government's activities. He was looking at whether or not the Trump campaign had conspired with the Russians, but he was not going back and looking at the counterintelligence program. And we have a number of investigations underway that touch upon it, the main one being the Office of Inspector General that's looking at the FISA warrants. But as far as I'm aware, no one has really looked across the whole waterfront.
So you came into this job and you started asking questions. Did you get any answers?
Well, I thought when I came in from the outside that all the questions that I had and many other people had that would be readily answered once I got in, but I haven't found that to be the case.
You also said back in April that you thought there was spying going on in the Trump campaign. When do you think that started?
Well, I'm not going to speculate about when it started. We're going to find out when it started.
I like
It's been said that it was July of 2016.
We're going to find out.
Does that sound right to you?
Again, I don't want to speculate. What I will say is that you know, I've been trying to get answers to questions, and I found that a lot of the answers have been inadequate, and I've also found that some of the explanations I've gotten don't hang together. So in a sense, I have more questions today than I did when I first started.
Some of what?
That was the biggest thing I wanted you guys to take away from that. He goes, some of the answers I've gotten, they don't mesh. Like, person A says this and person B says this, and they don't hang together. They don't work right.
Yeah.
So you can't say that A is and B, if they're completely opposite, they don't work. And so he says, in a sense, he has more questions today. He doesn't have the answers, but he's gonna. I love that he's not gonna speculate. He's not gonna say, "Well, about
he's like
this."
a new
He's
sheriff
like,
in town.
We're gonna find out when they started spying on Donald Trump. We're gonna find that out. We're gonna investigate that.
Yeah,
we're investigating the investigators, and literally, I believe the next. I'm hoping, I'm praying, the next ball to be dropped out of the air will be the censorship. Something's gonna give with the censorship.
Okay, so
and just like it's happening right now.
Speaking of which, let's go ahead and read this. Letter that was sent by Liz. Now, I want you guys, this is a little bit contrary to what we think. That's okay. I would love, if you guys have comments that are valid and you're upset because they're not being read in the chat, or you're sending me an email and I'm not getting it or whatever, send a letter to P.O. Box 107, Milford, Ohio 45150. We will read your letters on air if you have an opinion. Dear Leah,
most of the time.
Well, they have to be like readable.
Yeah.
Okay. Dear Leah and Michelle, you said that you wanted some mail, so let me share my thoughts on some things you discussed on the May 3rd show. You spoke a bit about technology and Google and how they have taken such a role in our lives that it is virtually impossible to have a productive existence in today's society without it. We didn't actually say that verbatim, but we can talk about that at the end. But we did kind of hint at something like that. So she's not wrong. I read an article by Kashmir Hill titled, "I Cut Google Out of My Life. It Screwed Up Everything," on gizmodo.com. This woman tried to eliminate her reliance on Google and to see if it could if she could maintain her daily life. She wrote a census of articles where she tried blocking the big 5 tech giants: Google, Amazon, Facebook, Apple, and Microsoft. Fantastic. Secondly, you discussed using a map. I am one of the few who uses a paper map on trips. I use GPS too, but chart my trip on a map as well. Several Thanksgivings ago, I was driving from Virginia to Pennsylvania, and my GPS took me on a turn on a winding mountain road on a skinny part of Maryland. It was snowing at the time, and I ended up driving off the road. This is horrific. My cell phone had no service. This is, again, still horrific more. And I ended up having to hitchhike to a town in Maryland 30 miles away because all the towns near where I ran off the road were not large enough to have a hotel. This is like a Hallmark movie. Did you find the man of your dreams doing this? To this day, I swear the person who picked me up was a guardian angel, but that is a story for another day. Turns out that the town I got stuck in got world record snow in that snowstorm. So I will always use paper maps. Best wishes, ladies, Liz. Liz, thank you very much for sending that letter and sending your personal thoughts on that, because each opinion and each side of the argument is worth being said. While we're on this topic, I want to clarify something, and I try to say this as much as possible. I actually wish we didn't have technology. Mm-hmm. I wish there wasn't electricity. To be perfectly frank and honest, I'm one of those crazy people.
To be honest, we took a 3,000-mile bike trip with no Google.
No cell phone?
They didn't even have the ability. They had
we didn't even have a credit card.
Yeah.
3,000 miles.
No cell phone.
No gun, no mace.
No nothing. And I prefer maps. Hard maps.
You are the map queen.
I hate Google Maps. I absolutely hate it. But I have used Google Maps 100 times, like the past,
within the past year.
But here's the thing, because people don't here's the thing. Once other people drop it, phone book, Matt, like said, used to get the phone book with local maps.
They would unfold.
We're talking about, how do I get from here to a local place?
Yeah.
You don't get that on a state map or even a city map. Like little tiny streets. Right. There's no maps. Right. You have to call somebody up. How do you call them up? Right. You have to Google them. You have to, you know what I mean? You have to, businesses. They have changed our world for us. Right. So we can no longer function.
Well, and like I said on that May 3rd show, how far do you take this? It's because we have become so used to the things that we have. Mm-hmm. You just said, how do you call them? And I thought you were going to say, using technology. That's actually fairly new. Thank you, Graham Bell. But seriously, if you couldn't call them, then what would you do? Mm-hmm. You would have to write a letter to get instructions or ask around. So you are reliant on technology. And so just because you find the telephone as an acceptable necessity, and just because you find electricity as an acceptable necessity, but you don't find Google and Amazon and Facebook and Twitter a necessity, doesn't actually make it that it's not a necessity for other people, because you use a telephone. And frankly, if I could, I would get rid of telephones. If I could, I would get rid of electricity. Our society exists around these things that we have become dependent on, and I would love it. And I'm praying for the day that I kind of do pray for some sort of collapse where we all go back to that. All right? But we're not there right now. You need the telephone. You need electricity. You use it. You rely on it. Other people use Twitter and Facebook to make a difference in this world.
Right.
And their voice to change the world, to make it better, to get the truth out to people, is being censored. And the argument is that it's not a necessity.
Right.
I'm confused by that. I am absolutely confused by that.
30 million views on something on Facebook. On a cat video.
We have gone live before on very, very, very important societal issues that would change the course of a nation. And we have had 100,000 views. We would be live in the chat and there are 300 people watching us, engaging us, seeing what we have to put out for the first time. And YouTube has decided
that they don't want
the world to hear what we have to say.
Right.
Okay. So the fact that people that love us, that watch our channel, don't see that as an issue, I'm confused by it, frankly. I'm very confused by it.
I am confused. Well, listen to this. Do you know why Google and Facebook have to be regulated? This woman cut out Google. Long ago, Google made the mistake of adopting the motto, "Don't be evil," in a jab at competitors who exploited their users. Alphabet, Google's parent company, has since demoted that phrase in its corporate code of conduct, presumably because how hard it is to live up to it. Google's no stranger to scandals, but in 2018 was a banner year. It covered up the potential data exposure of 500,000 people who probably forgot they were still using Google+. It got caught trying to build a censored search engine in China, and its own employees resigned to protest Google helping the Pentagon build out of it, blah, blah, blah. So this woman cut it out. And so what she found was that it was a lot more difficult because the government helped to create Google.
Right.
And Google became Google. Right? So, see, I don't know, she didn't entirely block it. She used Google Calendar to tell her what she needed to do. Google Chrome was her browser. She used Gmail for work and personal. She turned to Google for every question and search. Google Docs is the home for her story drafts. And she used Google Maps for everything. And so she was shocked when cutting Google out of her life takes just a few painful hours. She blocked Google. So she went to Firefox. She changed her search result, but here's what she said. She switched to Apple's calendar map, but she said she couldn't get rid of her Gmail.
Wow.
Because it's a security risk.
Right.
She had to keep it.
Wow.
So she went to MapQuest, but she didn't get off the internet. She just tried to stop using Google.
Right.
Right? So Google is a behemoth when it comes to maps, by the way. You know, they drive around.
I just saw them passing. I told Leah the other day the Google car drove past us when we were walking in Old Milford, and I said, well, now we're going to be on the street view of whatever that just drove past there.
Right.
Here's something worth noting. Everybody keeps saying, get off of Facebook, get off of Twitter, right? Yeah. Well, guess what? They're not censoring your grandma. They're not censoring your best friend that posts pictures of her kid peeing in a puddle. Okay?
Exactly.
They should, but they don't. Okay? That's not who they're censoring. They are only coming after people who have something to say in society. And it's actually, so they censor us, but it's a threat to you. And here's why. All of these liberals that are touting being pro-choice want to take away your choice to digest information that is freely and should be freely out there in the public. They are saying you're not responsible enough to receive this information and not have it change your life. So we're going to just make sure that you aren't allowed to see and hear this information.
Here, James O'Keefe leaked Facebook docs showed plans to trigger special features leading up to important elections. They admit they already demote bad content, which is us. What is bad content? They cite Lauren Chen, who is a conservative commentary person, as an example. And so
this is election fraud. So what they do, what a magician does, it's called a sleight of hand or distraction. They say, look over here, while they come and do something that you're not looking at. So what they've done with this Russian collusion election fraud, or whatever they want to call it, meddling in elections, they're actually doing the real election meddling.
This is Prager University. YouTube won't let us advertise our video. YouTube won't let them advertise the video. The world's most persecuted minority is Christians, claiming it is dangerous or derogatory.
Wow. They are only censoring right-leaning content.
Right.
That should say something. It should say something to you guys. And I want you, and I've said this before, why is it those of you that are actually on our side, your first reaction is to go to some sort of libertarian, well, it's their right to do whatever. No, your first reaction should be, man, guys, that's so awful. That's so wrong. They shouldn't do that.
All right,
that should be your first reaction. And who is watching the Watchers, Bob Ferguson says.
I need to make a whole video on this. But the White House has just released, and everybody needs to...
Hang on, Leah. No. You gotta retell that story. You gotta retell it the way that you told it to me when you called me on the phone and you said, put me on speaker. I got to tell y'all something.
Yeah, I want to find, actually...
Tell it that way. Get excited.
I gotta find
Leah
the link.
Is a prophet. I once said that to one of the youth leaders when I was in youth group. I said, my sister is a prophet. And he said, no, she is not. Well, I'm here to tell you. She's gotten words of wisdom and called out people when they've been molested and said, I know you've been molested. They break down crying and all kind of stuff. My sister's a prophet, my big sister.
So was it yesterday morning or the morning before?
I don't know. It happened. That's what I know.
All right. So I had this idea. What if everybody who is censored could get together on the same place and tell their story, and somebody could make a definitive list of what's happening so that we could present it to our Congress people, so that we could try to make laws pass.
Yeah.
So the White House has finally done something.
But this was within hours of your idea.
Yeah, exactly.
You're skipping that part.
White House provides site to report social media complaints related to political bias. The Trump administration has set up a website where people can file a report if they believe their social media accounts have been banned, suspended, or otherwise affected because of political bias. The Trump administration is fighting for online free speech, the White House said in a May 15th tweet.
It's really exciting. It was just 2 days ago.
No matter your views, if you suspect political bias has caused you to be censored or silenced online, we want to hear about it.
So we're going to tell them.
You can go to whitehouse.wh.gov/tech bias, and it asks visitors a series of questions, including name, email address, and what happened to their social media accounts, and on what social media
we haven't done it yet.
I have not yet done
We're
this.
gonna do
I'm
it.
going to do this, offering the options of Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and others. Trump administration is fighting for free speech online. No matter your views, if you suspect political bias has caused you to be censored or silenced online, we want to hear about it.
Yes.
So I want everybody. We want this to be tweeted out. We want this to be shared. We want you guys. If you've
they're going to censor this, they're going to censor it.
You're going to take screenshots. So you can start. Here we go. Social media platforms should advance free speech. Yet too many Americans have seen their accounts suspended, banned, or fraudulently reported for unclear violations of user policies. No matter your views, if you suspect political bias cause such an action to take against you,
share your story with President Trump.
Get started. Please tell us a little bit about yourself. You're gonna talk about your name, your last name. Are you a citizen? And then you're gonna go from there.
It's so exciting.
I am. So
oh my gosh, this is so awesome.
Instagram censored this Jussie Smollett meme from my account, saying it was bullying Jussie. FYI, Mr. President. Peter Sweden just saw this. Congratulations to my colleague on becoming aware for the first Heritage employee banned from Twitter. What happened?
Wow.
So, yeah. I'm hoping that this takes off. It really is our first step here.
Right. Well, okay. And another thing, while we're talking about censorship and the argument that it's okay and it's not, and technology being necessary, I guess, is more what I want to hit on. You do realize that years ago, many years ago, you could go to the White House and wait in line to talk to the president.
Yeah,
you could wait in line to be heard by the president. We haven't seen that in forever, okay? But the fact that a president sits in office right now where you can effectively get a voice to him
right
in a way that has never been seen before. The fact that Trump is on Twitter and he is telling you the things that he's thinking when InfoWars gets banned and he tweets out an InfoWars video the next day, he's talking to you. He's talking to the people, okay?
Waivers video.
We live...
But I honestly think that because what I read was that he has one social media guy and he oversees a bunch of Trump's tweets, and also he'll give Trump a list of tweets, and Trump will circle the ones he wants tweeted out.
That's awesome.
So, after this Alex Jones banning, Trump's team went to bat. They went and they looked and said, what can we share to say that we're backing and supporting them? They did not share Alex Jones.
Or Louis Farrakhan. But they did share Millie Weaver, and they did tweet out Paul Joseph Watson. Yeah.
Saying, I understand that you are my supporter.
Right.
I understand that you have helped me get elected. And that was a shot.
And was it Faith Goldie or Laura
bow.
Loomer also that day? It was one of them.
Oh, Faith Goldie. Faith Goldie. And so I know that behind the scenes there was a handful of people who said, Trump, these are the people that you need to retweet. Right. You really need to retweet them. Can I do it? And he's probably just said, go, do it. And so he watched the Millie Weaver video. Yeah. Which we shared to you guys. So when a lot of people get on Trump and say, I'm getting off the bandwagon, from the very beginning, I said to myself, if Hillary Clinton were president, I wouldn't even be here. Right. We would be gone. There wouldn't even be a voice for us anywhere. We would all just be labeled hate speech, and we would just be obliterated. Yeah. And as long as Trump is not trying to censor me, then I have to support him. And then now that the Mueller report, this only happened, the text censorship happened under the Mueller report. Because of the Mueller report, Donald Trump was kept busy. Yeah. Trying to make sure that he and his sons did not go to prison. Right. Okay, or get indicted or get impeached. And they did that on purpose. Because it's a sleight of hand. It's what magicians do. Right. They knew that the Russian investigation wasn't going to produce anything. Exactly. But they could stop Donald Trump from getting his agenda going. But most importantly, what they were able to do was to deplatform us, to censor us. That they know that Donald Trump is not Donald Trump. Right. That we're Donald Trump. Yeah. They don't hate Donald Trump. They love the billionaire Donald Trump. Yeah. They love him. They hate us. Exactly. And he listens to our voices. And I read this. Some people were all worried about it. That he wants to know, how is this particular thing going to play out on social media? Yeah. People are like, well, he just is looking for likes and he just wants confirmation. No. He's a president of the people and he wants to know what you're saying. Yeah. And so when I tell when something happens like in Syria or something happens here or there, I say, tell him. You're in a marriage and a relationship with a person. You talk to them. Yeah. You tell them. And this is a president who has created a relationship with us. Yeah. That is like Abraham Lincoln. Yeah. It's really okay. I don't understand how people can't see it, because I watched the president change stances on things like he did with Syria. Yeah. Because we all said, whoa, hey, let's not do this. And, when he sees an online rush of his supporters going in one direction, he switches. Yeah. So hang on, let me hit on something that you said, though, because given like the Avengers movie and going back in time and time travel, it's all very ambiguous. You said if Hillary Clinton was president, then you wouldn't be here. However, the reason that Hillary Clinton is not president is because of the social media, and the reason why they started censoring was because Hillary Clinton didn't get elected president because of social media. So actually, if Hillary Clinton was president and there wasn't that big of a movement on social media, then your videos would probably still be allowed to be shared because they weren't making a change. On that day, if everything had happened the way it had happened with social media and she was elected instead, exactly, we wouldn't be here. Exactly. But my point is, in order for her to have
been elected,
Right.
the social media movement wouldn't have been as strong as it was.
I should have put this in the title, but this is like the most important thing that we shared today. All right, back to, I'm going to play a couple more seconds of this Barr interview.
Things don't hang together.
Some of the explanations of what occurred.
Why does that matter?
Well, because I think people have to find out what the government was doing during that period. If we're worried about foreign influence,
What about
very same
domestic
reason
influence?
We should be worried about whether government officials
Thank you.
abuse their power and put their thumb on the scale. And so I'm not saying that happened, but I'm saying that we have to look at that.
Can you say when Bob Mueller knew there was no collusion with Russia?
No, I couldn't say that.
No date given?
No, I couldn't say when he knew. Obviously, one of the big challenges
He knew all
we face
along.
right now in law enforcement is the humanitarian crisis.
So he was
Oh, they
actually
can't hear the
in-
video. I'm sorry. Thank you,
Shoot.
Baker Mom, because this thing fell off again. It times out.
Barr was in El Salvador. Was he in El Salvador? And they're all like sweating because it's really hot there. Talking about MS-13. And
Here it comes.
he is doing a good job.
Bill Barr. I'm
about
just gonna
the,
keep singing that. What you gonna do?
That's awesome.
What you gonna do when he comes for you?
Well, again, I don't want to speculate about
Let's see.
intelligence that was gathered down here.
How do you think John Brennan and James Clapper handled the Russian investigation?
Well, again, I don't want to speculate about the facts because I don't know the facts at this point.
At all?
I know some facts, but it's premature to be discussed.
Can you tell us what the Steele dossier had to do with this? What role did that
Sweating
play?
like mad.
Well, that's one of the questions, that we're going to have to.
Well, because they make them wear these suits. Give them some Kansas shirts, man. They're cut off. We cut off all of Kansas's shirts. Give them some Kansas shirts. Like if you get married in the middle of summer, I don't know about suits, man.
It's not nice to.
I think it's
do.
cruel and unusual.
Of course,
It's not natural. Give them some nice cotton
All right,
thin
so my video's
shirts,
not
short
saying, but this is what
sleeves.
Donald Trump had to say about the interview. Donald Trump says, "My campaign for president was conclusively spied upon. Nothing like this has ever happened in American politics. A really bad situation.
Really bad
treason means
situation.
long jail sentences, and this was treason."
Yeah.
So, there you have it.
I love it.
All right. Here is a interesting story, and it's probably going to see.
So they're asking me questions about how the White House website does not accept messages from abroad. Unfortunately, this is just something for the United States because they are going to ask you if you're a citizen. I would hope that it will set a fire for other countries to do the same.
Right. Yeah, I hope so too. Let's see if my...
Stuart the Brit says Europe and Britain are having their own investigation about Google, Facebook, etc. So we are ahead of America. France has already fined Facebook.
Yeah, but they're not undoing the censorship. They're encouraging the censorship.
I know there are several different things happening, and unfortunately in the socialist countries, they want freedom when it suits them, and they want censorship and laws and restrictions when it suits them.
Exactly.
They want free migration and so on and so forth. They want free things.
Right.
They want freedom to build mosques instead of churches.
So there are a couple more points that my video won't play. Can you tell us what the let's see.
I remember at the hearing about a month ago, you said you're still trying to get your head.
No, wait, I want you.
And I don't want to speculate about.
Steele dossier had to do with this. What role did that play?
Well, that's one of the questions, that we're going to have to look at. It's a very unusual situation to have opposition research like that, especially one that on its face had a number of clear mistakes and a somewhat jejune analysis, and to use that to conduct counterintelligence against the American political campaign is would be a strange development. I'm not sure what role it played, but that's something we have to look at.
Do you smell a rat in
No
this
idea.
at this point?
I don't know if I'd describe it a rat. I would just say that
No idea.
the answers I'm getting are not sufficient.
Just to follow up on that, Republicans have said for months that these men, Brennan, Clapper, maybe James Comey, had it in for Trump. Do you think that's true?
Again, I'm not going to speculate about their motives.
In the period of time between Election Day and the inauguration, did anyone in government or in intelligence, did they take action to justify their decisions?
Between Election Day, did you say?
Between Election Day of 2016 in November and Inauguration Day.
I think there were some very strange developments during that period. That's one of the things we want to look into.
Such as?
Such as the handling of the meeting on January 6th between the intelligence chiefs and the president, and the leaking of information subsequent to that meeting.
Was that meeting in New York City?
Yes.
In Trump Tower?
Yes.
What questions do you have about what happened that day?
Again, I'm not going to get into that.
How did that chick who's connected to Fusion GPS
Can you characterize how far advanced you are in understanding that meeting?
We're still in the stage of gathering all the information.
Remember what the president's position has been from the beginning. Called it a hoax, called it a witch hunt, and I asked the Attorney General about that.
Mueller decided not to attempt to subpoena or force the issue with the president, so he made that judgment. I did say the White House cooperated, and what I was referring to there was the truly unprecedented delivery of information in the form of millions of pages of documents and the ability to interview White House staff, including the president's White House counsel, with no holds barred, no privilege claimed at that point or anything. So that was unprecedented, and that's what I was referring to when I said the White House.
So you find that satisfactory on behalf of the White House?
It's more than satisfactory. And Bob Mueller obviously felt it was satisfactory. He reached his conclusions in his report.
Let me come back to that point. The president calls this a witch hunt. He calls it a hoax. Would you agree with that?
Well, as I've said, if you were the president, I think you would view it as a witch hunt and a hoax, because at the time he was saying he was innocent and that he was being falsely accused. And that's, if you're falsely accused, you would think that something was a witch hunt. I have to say, when you step back and look at this, two and a half years of his administration, 3 years of Trump, the campaign and then the first part of his administration, he has been hammered for something, for allegedly conspiring with the Russians. And that we now know that was simply false.
Are you comfortable using those words? Witch hunt? Hoax?
I use what words I use, and it was an investigation, but I think if I had been falsely accused, I'd be comfortable saying it was a witch hunt.
You mentioned Bob Mueller a few
He's
moments
such
ago.
a normal guy. I know. He's like, yeah, okay, yeah, whatever. Here's my answer.
That he came back with no recommendation on that obstruction charge. That surprised you?
Yes, that surprised me. Because the function of a prosecutor is to make a call one way or the other.
Did you ask him why?
Yeah, we discussed it.
All right. So this guy. He is just down. I like him so much. I like him a lot.
All right, so hang on. Let me see here. There were a couple comments I wanted to read. Stuart the Brit says, I think Mr. Big Barr is rattling the cage and seeing who falls out into his hands. I think it was Porky Prickly Pants that had said, investigation, I'm sick of talk, I want action. Mueller is a dirty cop. I remember his days in the FBI. Mm-hmm. Now, I understand, and I'm going to say this again, you're sick of talk and you want action, okay? The Mueller investigation took 2 years. Do you know why it took 2 years? Because they couldn't find anything and they kept dancing around. It's called stalling. This investigation is not going to take 2 years because Barr is like a dog with a bone. And he is going to make sure that this stuff is wrapped up because Trump is correct. The people want justice, and Barr is going to deliver it. He is absolutely going to deliver it. Now, so what had said, Michelle, take a look at what I sent you in your last message, in his last message to me in the UK, because it correlates with the censorship. It says, an innocent man was forced to uncover his face by police in London for a photo to be taken because he covered his face while when he realized a covert police camera van on a pavement covertly filming every pedestrian on the street to try to link them to the police national computer. Because he protested, he was fined 90 pounds and forced to have his photo taken by mob-handed police officers. But Islamic women are permitted to walk around covered from head to toe in a burqa. There is no law to say that police can demand you remove any face covering in British law. The reason given by police is trailing new face recognition technology. No debate has been in the House of Commons regarding this at all. No decisions have been made by the government on this either, just the Metropolitan Police acting under their own orders. So, the UK is still a free country. Roll on the revolution.
Yeah.
So thank you for that.
Yeah, that was a little bit disconcerting because I watched the video of the man and he covered his face as he went past the police.
Because they were surveilling.
There's no burqa ban. There's no hijab ban.
Unbelievable.
So it's definitely, disconcerting.
Very.
Yeah.
That being said, so we're playing devil's advocate here by this story because we've been saying for so long, hang on. If you're a criminal or you're just passing the police and you cover up your face, you're not allowed to do that. Why is it that these people are allowed to be covered head to toe?
Right.
Okay. So there is some sort of line to be hashed out here, but you can't have it both ways on either side.
Yeah, it looks like the video is not going to play.
Well, I think they quite understand.
Okay, so we're going to sing some songs and wrap up here, but I thought this would be some interesting news here was what I want to play. Not play. So, no, we don't want you anymore. We're done with you. Here it is. This is the one I want, actually.
And it won't come up?
Yeah. The adversity score on the SATs now. So,
what?
When you're going into college,
yes,
as a high schooler, you take the SAT test, and it's supposed to basically...
This is an American thing,
make
by the
it
way.
so that...
colleges can rate, like, where you're at.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not supposed to be based on, your parents' income, whether it's high or low. It actually was supposed to be make it even for kids who had a low score.
Right.
But let me just allow Tucker Carlson to explain it.
I'm going to get a splitter for Leah to be hardwired into the internet instead of wireless, and we're going to hope that helps.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on here with my internet lately. But the things on that now they're going to say is your maybe your gender status, your parental marriage status. Did you grow up in a 2-parent home? They will take into account the zip code you grew up in and the housing market there and the value of the homes around you.
So hang on,
though. Your SAT score will literally be tied to an adversity score. So those who have a low adversity score, their SAT scores will bump.
So if you're poor, you don't have to try hard.
Well,
thank you very much. It's a nice day.
Unbelievable.
Having all of you with us today live and with our studio audience. Meanwhile, a lot of people take the SATs before they get into college, which tests math and verbal skills. But soon, students will get another score for how much adversity they faced growing up and their current circumstances.
This new score is calculated using 15 different factors, including crime rate and poverty from the student's high school and their neighborhood.
All right, so what do you think about this? Is this really fair to students? Is this leveling the playing field? Here to react is the man everybody was just clapping for, let's be honest. The editor-in-chief of Campus Reform, Lawrence Jones. Lawrence. So Lawrence, I mean, if I make a lot of money, my school system is better, my teachers in theory get paid more, therefore it's better. If I don't have to go get a job after school, my grades are higher, and this is a way of leveling the playing field. How do you feel about that?
This is not leveling the playing field. This is a savior complex. This is identity politics that we've been talking about at Campus Reform. The fact that they feel like they can judge people based on where they come from, the color of their skin, what they went through, I think is insulting. It's essentially saying those people that come from those backgrounds, people like me, cannot make it. And I think we warned America that this was going to happen, and no one paid attention.
What about people like me who grew up so poor? We didn't have any money to go to college, wound up getting scholarships and things like that, able to make it. Would that help me get in?
Well, the thing is this. People should be able to, from a merit-based system, fight for their scholarships. It is a tough task going on the internet, finding all the scholarships that you qualify for. Instead of fixing it on the local level in the education system and preparing people to go to college, we're about to create a workforce where people aren't qualified. But the universities don't care because guess what? They still get the money. Meanwhile, college students go into debt. Their parents got to help them pay it back. And so there's really no incentive for them to push
the colleges don't care. There's no incentive. They get the same amount of money regardless. Okay, so it doesn't matter. There's no motivation for them to pick the higher qualified students. We're going to have underqualified people in positions.
They have made it to the college.
Students that grew up in poor neighborhoods, because what if the colleges look at that and they say, we had too many from that neighborhood last time. What if it
But they're not going to do that, Ainsley. They're going to end up putting most of those kids through. Those kids aren't going to be prepared to get through. By the way, this goes to the larger question. Why are we pushing college so much still when a lot of these college students that graduate with degrees still can't get jobs?
Well, Lawrence, I'll take that, but I would say this. I know what's going to happen. They're going to start saying, hey, I know you're living in a beautiful area of Michigan, but we're going to get an address in inner city Detroit in order to look as though we're academically disadvantaged.
They did not think this through. Second of all, the score is invisible. The kids don't know what their score is. So anything that's done in secret is very shady.
They did it in 50 colleges.
Exactly.
And 150 in the fall. Here's a statement from the College Board. The ECD does not provide information about the student. It provides information about the student's environment, puts a student's SAT score and other academic accomplishments in the context of where they live and learn.
Did these rich Hollywood people that are paying for their kids, are they the reason for this?
Yeah, well, they probably are, but it's going to lead to discrimination. Look at the Asian lawsuit that we reported on campus reform. At Harvard University, they're essentially discriminating against these students because they said it's many Asians there. This is going to happen because no one knows the score. No one knows the metrics that they're using. Of course, they said, yeah, your background and all that, but how do we know?
Right. I went to college because my parents paid for me to get a women's gymnastics scholarship. and a lot of I just wanted the scandal to come out now.
Oh my gosh.
You couldn't cut the mustard.
Yeah, I couldn't. Uneven job.
Lawrence,
uneven bars were really troublesome.
You've got a lot of fans here. Where's Carrie? Carrie, right back.
Okay, so I wanted you guys to see that adversity score now connected to
your
SAT.
I wish, is there any way you can back the video up to where it listed the things in the very beginning?
So
I want to take a look at those again because I have an issue with the fact that I don't know that there is in there, like, if your parents are abusive to you verbally, mentally, emotionally, neglectful of you.
So the crime rate in your neighborhood, the poverty rate in your neighborhood, the housing value in your neighborhood, and the vacancy rate in your neighborhood, okay? Family environment, median income, single parent, education level of your parents. I have no idea what ESL is.
Right.
Anybody know what that is?
High school environment, what is under matching?
I don't know. Curricular Ricker, free lunch rate, and the AP opportunity. So here's the thing. I went to one of the best schools in Cincinnati as far as public schools, Milford, and the median income was pretty up there. It's not low. It's not high. And the housing rate, the crime rate. Actually, Miami Township is the third safest place in all of Ohio. So I'm not getting anything except for being in a single parent home.
Right.
I'm not getting anything because they're not going to, hey,
well,
did
you
live
like,
in an apartment?
Right.
In that area? Did you live, there's government housing. Hey, I lived in government housing in this oasis of Milford, Ohio.
Well, they will. They'll tell you the property rate and the housing
of your
values.
Neighborhood.
Yeah.
They take in all the houses with are literally the government housing.
Right.
The downtrodden government housing is 2 doors down from giant mansions that go for $300,000 and $400,000.
But what if you live in a rich house and you have everything that does not qualify you for this, and your dad molests you or whatever? You can't do it. It doesn't work.
It rewards bad behavior.
Right.
This is the same thing, the same philosophy that literally led to the single parent crisis that we're talking about, the crime that we're talking about. Because in the 60s, they told inner city women, black women, don't get married because as soon as you get married, we will drop you off the welfare rolls.
Right.
So men and women didn't get married. But what that does to a child's psyche is it messes you up.
Right.
You need to be in a marriage is a very sacred thing, which is why we believe marriage is between a man and a woman, not you know, if you have kids, you have kids.
Right.
But it's a sacred thing.
Well, what is it going to do to the students that are just average, whatever, and they try really hard?
Right.
Okay. And they're like, wait a minute, I'm going to lose a spot just because I'm not poor. Then what's the point?
Exactly.
What's the point of even trying?
You're going to literally look at your parents and say, why don't you get a divorce? Because that will raise my adversity score.
Yeah.
Or let's move somewhere where it's poor.
Right.
So that we can raise my adversity score. Or let's go to a bad high school.
Yeah.
No, it's insane. And Bernie Sanders, above all people, wants to end for-profit charter schools. Because he says more money needs to go into the public school system. That's failing, by the way, in a lot of places.
Wow. All right. So that's that story in and of itself is great. But I want to hit on what he said at the end. Why are we even pushing college anyway? When kids, all they do is they go there, they party, they're getting a poor education, by the way. Universities are not what they used to be 100 years ago.
Right.
They're getting a poor education. They can't get a job. And I want to know, and I've said this before, whose idea was it to take a young child, 18 is very young, sometimes it's 17, a young child and say, I've got a great idea. Let's start off your adulthood and life with a, 30-year mortgage or something, okay? To strap a kid with debt to start out your life, it's the most idiotic thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
It does not make sense. All right, so
songs.
We're going to sing. Now, the last time I switched the microphone, it was too loud.
Oh.
So what we're going to try to do, this is our microphone right here. It's right here. We're going to turn the camera around and we're going to sing over there. I'm going to turn this around so I can see the chat. And I need you guys to tell me if for some reason you can't hear us or it's too loud or whatever. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. But I want to thank you guys for being here. Thank you to all of our moderators. Here's the deal. I do watch all of the chat. I read it all. If you're watching this back and you see the live chat, or if you are participating in the live chat and you see drama in the live chat, I want you all to know, you especially, so what, that you are all loved and you are all valued. And anything that the moderators do, I trust them. They aren't doing it because they don't like you. Like Patriot Gallery keeps saying, they have come up with rules that are saying that they will ban channels for things that are said within the chat. That's not our problem, but apparently the moderators have decided that they think it's a good idea that we don't get censored based on the things that people say in the chat. It's that simple, okay? Yeah. It's very, very simple, but that doesn't mean that we love or value you guys any less. We absolutely do. So Leah's going to get her stuff set up there.
If it was up to me, I would leave every single comment.
Right.
Good, bad, ugly.
Right. I agree. I agree with Leah.
I know a lot of people like, why did you take my comments down? Listen, guys, I don't care. I am free speech. I don't care what you say as long as it's not
English as a second language, ESL. Thank you, Wendy Wallen, on a Facebook Live for that
have one language,
comment.
I guess.
Yeah, that proves that. She says she only has a English as a first language. That's definitely me.
I speak a little Spanish.
Yeah, un poquito. All right, so let's see. This is what I want to have is a setup where I have two cameras and I can literally just switch until that.
Is it possible to start a new stream for the singing because we're 85 minutes and BitChute doesn't do anything over 2 hours.
Okay, so Patriot Gallery would like us to do a second stream just for singing because it's easier to upload a video to BitChute. So we're gonna sign off here and we're gonna come back in a second. We want you guys to like, comment, and subscribe to Resistance Chicks and Mass Faith 3. Ring that bell for notifications. Find us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. We love you guys. God loves you. God bless.
I was cold.